Hello guys and welcome back to another episode of our EAFC 25 career mode here with Southampton. We're returning today with another youth academy tournament and another which we have won. In the previous episode we went on a really good run. Southampton currently 7 games unbeaten in the Premier League, sat in 14th place. But before we jump into our first game today at home to Sheffield United, once again we've got a few bits of admin to take care of, and straight off the bat a big bid from Newcastle United for Matheus Fernandes. Of course, my usual transfer policy is not to stand in my players' way if a bigger club does come in, but Newcastle also aren't playing European football this year, and I don't really like selling people in January, especially if I've not got a replacement lined up. So I'm going to turn that bid down from Newcastle. If they come back in the summer, then I definitely won't stand in Matheus's way, but I'm saying to him, stay here on the south coast until at least the end of the season. And as we've now officially reached the January transfer window, we've got 4 players who can leave on a free. They are Joe Aribo, who has handed in a transfer request, so I'm just going to let him walk on a free. Alex McCarthy's retiring. Charlie Taylor, another who I'm happy to let depart come the end of the season, and also Jack Stevens. Of course, he'd submitted a transfer request, but I'd said to him that I wasn't going to sell him and he was staying until the end of his contract. So Stevens, Taylor and Aribo all likely to leave on frees at the end of the season. But for Will Smallbone, I would like to give him a new contract, especially as we've just seen Andre Santos and Boubacar Traore both recalled by their parent clubs. So Smallbone signs a new deal. As for the other 3, as I say, they will all be allowed to walk on frees at the end of the season. We've also got our next batch of academy updates from Senegal, England and the Maldives as well. So let's see if there's anyone good enough making the academy. Just the 2 players here from Senegal that we will continue the scouting on for now. As for England, we've got some really good looking players. Edward Martin in particular and Leo Lee both look fantastic. I do think I'm going to give Elliot Cole a scholarship, as this is the 2nd month's worth of scouting. And as for the Maldives, still waiting for a real star. We've got a few players here, but Hassan Saeed, I think we've been scouting him for a few months, already 6'2". I am going to pop him in the academy, so we've got our token player from the Maldives. And we've got some really good young players who have just joined from England. So a lot of the fullbacks, we've got Bishop, we've got Oakley, we've got Vaughan, all look pretty decent. Ibu Sonko is the lad from Senegal. And of course now we have Hassan Saeed as well as Elliot Cole, who have both made it this month. So yeah, some really good young players in the youth academy. And speaking of the youth academy players, I just wanted to do a quick little update on Lewis Turner, who's out at the Hawthorns. He's up from, I think it was 63 at the beginning of the season to 68, so some really nice growth there. And also the main man Connor Cox, who I believe was 56 overall when we sent him out on loan. He has now jumped up to 63 overall, and some of his stats are looking very good indeed. Quick, strong and a good finisher. Connor Cox is certainly one to look out for in the future. Right then, with all the admin out the way, it is time to jump into our first game of the episode. It's a big one as well. Sheffield United just 2 points below us in the Premier League table. And we want revenge after they dismantled us at Bramall Lane earlier on in the season. Lavumbo absolutely tore me apart on that day. I'm hoping I can keep him quiet here and get off to a winning start for the second half of the campaign. Come on, you Saints. Then, on the spin, finds Fernandes. Looks for Evan Nilsson over the top. Lovely ball. Evan Nilsson! We're starting to get our return on investment on this man now. I believe that's goal number 5 of the season, as the big Brazilian fires us into a first half lead here at St Mary's. Lovely ball by Fernandes. That's why I turned down the bid from Newcastle. And Matheus just sort of places it into that bottom corner. Davis can't get there, and the Saints are in front. 10 to play here at St Mary's, and we've been solid today, but still leading by just 1. If we throw this away, I'm going to be so disappointed because it's been all Southampton today. Well, there is the whistle, and the Saints do hold on and get revenge over our former team, Sheffield United. It wasn't particularly pretty, but we did boss the game and deserve the victory. The unbeaten streak now stretches to 8 as Southampton continue their good run of form. Well, bit of news here. Joe Aribo will be joining Ipswich Town at the end of the season. I don't mind that. I could have sold him for a couple of million quid now, but I'd rather keep him until the end of the season, as Jack Stevens has also been approached. I'd rather keep them here, let them run down their contracts, and they can leave on a free, because they're not going to bring in too much money at this stage anyway. But jumping into our next game, it is the FA Cup third round. Last year we were knocked out by Everton in the 5th round on a penalty shootout at Goodison Park, and again, although it would be nice to go on a cup run, my sole priority this season once again is just finishing as high as we can in the Premier League. So a tough game away at the London Stadium as we take on West Ham, and it will be a fully rotated side. Come on, you Saints. Kudus for West Ham down this right-hand side. Oh, picks out a lovely ball, and it drops to Angel Correa, and he really should have given the Hammers the lead. Slow start from Southampton. Stein looking just to chip this into the back post. It's looking for Dozy. Might fall for Suleimana. There's a strange header by Mohamed Kudus, and it nearly fell for our right midfielder in the penalty box. Alvarez into Somerville. Walker-Peters can't get around on the cover, and Bazunu again with another big save. There has been chances at either end. You'd say West Ham have probably had the better of them, but Gavin Bazunu's been in the way a couple of times, and now Stein brings it the other way. And Stein again. Stein on his right foot. Denied by Bernd Leno, and this has been a really enjoyable first half. Open, flowing football and chances at both ends. We might be in trouble here just before the break. Can Bazunu get there? Yes, he can again. What a save. Gavin Bazunu. And he's been waiting for his chance. Muric leading the clean sheet charts at the moment, so he's had to wait a while as that's loose. And again it squirms wide, and Bazunu's clean sheet is still intact. Rodriguez, good ball into Alvarez. And now Angel Correa, long way out. Bazunu is equal to it again. Can't bring it in, but does parry it away from goal. Walker-Peters looks for Brereton Diaz, fresh off the bench. And Brereton Diaz in behind. And Brereton Diaz, oh, my finger slipped on the button. What a chance. And I've absolutely buggered it. Last few minutes, Somerville. Wood stands his ground, but it comes through to Correa. And that is such a frustrating way to lose it. The Saints are heading out in the third round. It's been a good cup tie, to be fair, but Brereton Diaz down one end should have given us the lead. It's my fault. My finger slipped off the button as I went to power up the shot, and straight down the other end, Correa races through, and he was never going to miss from there. Yeah, that's frustrating that. The unbeaten streak comes to an end in all competitions, but I'm more focused on the Premier League, so I don't mind too much, but it's more just the manner that we lost it. We definitely could have won it late on with Brereton Diaz, but we do fall to defeat, and we're out of the FA Cup at the first hurdle. As we get back to the menus, confirmation that Jack Stevens will be heading to Salzburg at the beginning of next season. Let's have a look who it is we would have faced in the 4th round of the Carabao Cup. It would have been Everton at home, the side that knocked us out last year, so another Premier League team. I'm really not too disheartened by that. My attention firmly on the Premier League, as we will head into our next game away at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium, where we had our heaviest defeat of the save last year, as we were battered by 4-0 by Ange Postecoglou's side. Looking to keep the unbeaten streak going, at least in the Premier League. Come on, you Saints. Of course, our unbeaten streak came to an end in the previous game, but there were lots of changes for that. And I think in the league, we are now an 8-game unbeaten run. So a really good run of form. as Evanilson slid through. Van de Ven sticks with him. And there's Fernandes on the edge. Fernandes shoots. Still, it's Fernandes looking to get it through to Evanilson. But yeah, looking to remain unbeaten here. Keep that streak going for as long as we can. But it is on the ground where we've tasted our heaviest defeat of the save. And now Fatawu dispossessed, but it'll come to Walker-Peters. Lifts the ball forward for Fatawu. And Fatawu finds Evanilson. Tight angle. Evanilson's shot is smothered by Vicario. Very tight angle. We didn't really have anything else on. And the first effort of the game is saved by Vicario. Well, first half's been and gone. Nothing really to report on. One simple save for Vicario. As Evanilson tried to beat him at the near post. But we've kept Spurs quiet and defended well once again. We don't let many in. And if we can find a goal on the break, we could be on for another huge scalp. Downs again. And Fernandes into Fatawu. Can't get the strike away. And now it's Leif Davis. Porro does well. Evanilson couldn't squeeze it home. Tell you what though, we've been the better side today. Fernandes' ball in. Comes to Brereton Diaz. Fatawu's shot. And squirmed away once again by Tottenham. Still Solanke dispossessed, and that is going to do it at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. Another 0-0 draw in the Premier League, and I say it every time, it's not pretty, but it's another point on the board. Couldn't find the goal today, but we did have a couple of little half chances. Vicario denied us a couple of times, but the unbeaten streak now extended to 9 as the Saints remain unbeaten. Guys, after the game, this is starting to get so frustrating. Leif Davis, who's only signed in the summer, has now said, not getting games is starting to damage my career. I want to get away. This is like the 4th or 5th time this has happened, and you know, I've said it before, I'm having to rotate the team. Leif Davis was signed in the summer. He's played 11 of our probably 20 Premier League games. He's played a game in the Cup as well. Yes, he's not started every single game, so I do kind of get it. But he's another that, due to the stamina, he can't play every game. I think he's got 3 years left on his contract. So, to be honest, for the time being, I'm just going to keep him here. We'll maybe sell him in the summer, but I have really enjoyed using him this year. Well, after the game against Tottenham as well, Ange Postecoglou putting in a bid for Kyle Walker-Peters, of course, came through the Tottenham Academy, but he's our captain here. I certainly don't want to make any big changes in January, and that includes getting rid of our captain. Now, what I did want to do was see if we can potentially bring another midfielder in on loan. We obviously lost a couple of players in Andre Santos and Boubacar Traore, so I've still got quite a few players on the transfer list. I'm going to see if any of these clubs will allow them to come in on loan. And well, the man that I really wanted, Pierre-Emile Hojbjerg, I'd like to bring him back to the club on a permanent basis at some point, but I'm just going to do a basic loan for now because I don't really see the point in doing a loan to buy. Just a short-term loan until the end of the season. And yeah, I quite like that one. Bringing Hojbjerg back to the club, although the wages seem to be very, very strange here. That's better. A 60-40 split. I'm happy to pay the majority of his wages. And Pierre-Emile Hojbjerg looks as if he could be heading back to the Saints. And there is the signing confirmed for Hojbjerg. Not going to watch the whole intro. It's just a 6-month loan. But I quite like that one. Bit more cover in midfield, an experienced head, and a former Saint as well. Well, off the back of the signing of Pierre-Emile Hojbjerg, I'm going to give him his second debut for the club here as we host Fulham at St Mary's. Currently 10 points clear of the relegation zone. But more importantly, there's 7 teams between us and Crystal Palace in that final spot. So, yeah, it's very tight, but we'd have to go on a really poor run between now and the end of the season. And to be honest, if anything, I'm looking up rather than down, as I want to try and see if we can finish in the top half this season. I said I wanted a comfortable finish, but if we can finish in 10th place, then that is a phenomenal season for the Saints. Yeah, if we're able to avoid defeat here, it will make it 10 games in the Premier League without defeat since the loss to Fulham at Craven Cottage. What a run it's been. And Brereton Diaz, tight angle, hits the post and could have gone anywhere off the defender's leg. And Fulham get it clear. Downs finds Stein. And there's Brereton Diaz again. And Evan Nilsson can't get away but holds the ball up nicely. And Brereton Diaz this time does open the scoring. Third goal of the season for the Chilean. Hit the post earlier on, but the goal's been coming, and it's Ben Brereton Diaz who grabs the opening goal for the Saints. Walker-Peters into Stein. Little pocket opening up for Stein. It'll come for Evan Nilsson. It's a tad fortunate, but I think it might be the first time this season we've scored more than one goal in a game. Stein tried to shoot. Defender got a toe on it. It falls to Evan Nilsson. And the Brazilian, who's starting to find his goal-scoring touch, bends in our second goal of the game. And the Saints surely heading for 10 unbeaten in the Premier League. Free kick on the edge. Fatawu's over it. Can he score his third free kick goal of the save? Abdul Fatawu is off the woodwork, and we so nearly had three free kick goals and 3 goals in one game. And Fatawu so close as his shot cannons off the woodwork. Hume into Downs. And there's Brereton Diaz. And there's Cameron Archer for 3. What a performance from the Saints. Our best win of the save so far. Fulham put to the sword. Brereton Diaz with another assist. And Cameron Archer just absolutely smashes it home past Brady. By far our biggest win of the season and of the save in the Premier League. 3-0 here against Fulham. What a performance from the Saints. Well, another transfer request here is all going on today, but this one does make more sense. Jan Bednarek on the important squad role, and to be fair, he's barely kicked a ball this season. Just 3 appearances for the Pole, and they've all come in the Cups. He's not played a single minute in the Premier League this year. Solé and, of course, Harwood Bellis are both ahead of him. And even Nathan Wood and Stevens have played in the Premier League. So he's a great experienced Premier League defender. But with a year and a half left on his deal, it does look as if Jan Bednarek will be departing the club. Probably in the summer, as I would look to keep him at least until the end of this campaign. Well, Southampton have moved into the top half of the table for the first time this season. We're now 12 points clear of the relegation zone with 16 to play, and I'm not even really thinking about relegation anymore. I just want to see how high we can finish. So Manchester City up next. They are going for the title, 2 points behind Aston Villa, the leaders, but this being their game in hand. And after we beat them at St Mary's earlier on in the campaign, I'm sure they will be out for revenge as we travel to the Etihad, looking to keep the unbeaten streak alive and extend it to 11. But this probably the toughest fixture we could have had. Come on, you Saints. Yeah, going for another hit and run against City. This would be even more special with it coming at the Etihad, but I don't really understand. It's so frustrating with EA. Why is Joselu starting up top? And I imagine Erling Haaland sat on the bench wondering what the hell is going on. No disrespect to Joselu, but he's no Erling Haaland, and yeah, it just breaks away from the immersion when you've got stuff like this happening. The transfer market's still all over the place. It's just such a shame. They've done a great job with career mode this year. Lots of great changes, but still lots of things that need working on. Oh, Foden through the gap brilliantly. Foden looked to backheel for Solé. There's Joselu, and that's a great block. as Walker-Peters doesn't clear. And just calm it down, lads. Calm it down. There's the whistle. 20 to play here. Still, we remain deadlocked at 0-0. And City haven't really caused us too many issues. We've defended well in our shape, and we've not really given them too many opportunities. Looking to cling on in the final 15 to extend the unbeaten run. Well, there is the whistle, and like at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium, it wasn't particularly pretty, but we're getting the job done. Unbeaten run extended to, I think that's now 11 or 12 in the Premier League. Who'd have thought that at the beginning of the season? But Southampton on a really, really good run. And we might not be winning too many games, but we're not losing too many either. Manchester City have failed to beat us this season as we pick up 4 points against Pep Guardiola's side. Well, as we're into transfer deadline day, couple of big bids here. One for Jan Bednarek from Besiktas. I don't mind that as a destination, but as I say, I want to keep him here until the end of the season. But more importantly, a big bid for the vice-captain, Taylor Harwood-Bellis, former Manchester City Youth Academy player, and now wanted by Manchester United. But I'm sticking to my guns. I don't want to sell in this January window, especially without any replacements lined up. As I say, Taylor Harwood-Bellis is my long-term captain here after Kyle Walker-Peters either leaves the club or retires. 24 years of age, he's already a bit of a leader in this team, so he's going nowhere for now. We've got 10 hours on the clock in deadline day, but I don't think I'm going to be making any signings or any sales, as Antonio's rumoured to be heading to Birmingham City, but he's more likely to stay here. Well, that is going to do it for transfer deadline day. The top deals: Gonzalo Ramos has left PSG for AC Milan. Marco Carnesecchi has left Atalanta to join Monaco for 46.5 million. And Aston Villa, who are well and truly in the title race, looking to bolster their options at left back, bringing in the German David Raum from RB Leipzig for 32.5 million. Right, well, jumping into our next game, I think I'm actually going to make this the final one of the episode. I've still got a bit of a sore throat, and I've recorded like 2 or 3 episodes over this weekend, so apologies if it is a little bit shorter. But taking on Nottingham Forest at the beginning of February, they are rock bottom with just 5 points and look set for a return back down to the Championship. We're at home at St Mary's on this fantastic unbeaten run, which I think stretches back 11 or 12 games, looking to consolidate our position in the top half of the Premier League table. Come on, you Saints. Yeah, it's been a really good run recently, and although Forest knocked us out of the Carabao Cup on penalties, they've not had many wins this season, just 1 in the Premier League. And with us on this long unbeaten stretch, it probably means today's the day that it comes to an end against the team bottom of the league. But yeah, I mean, there's a couple of players in this team that I would absolutely love to take a look at if and when Forest do go down, including the man swinging that cross in there, Anthony Elanga. I think he'd be a great option down that right-hand side, similar to Fatawu, but probably a little bit more natural raw pace, whereas Fatawu's more of a technical player. So yeah, definitely a couple of players I'd be interested in, but yeah, focused on the task at hand, which is getting the win here to close out the episode. Ben around the corner to Trey, and Trey into Evan Nilsson, and Evan Nilsson finds Fatawu, and that probably should have been 1-0 on his stronger left foot, denied by the keeper. He will go out to take the corner. Soleil's attacking it, and Fatawu gets there first. Downs, and that's a nice build-up, and Fatawu's header into the ground is saved comfortably by Carlos Miguel, pushing for that opening goal, but unable to find it just yet. Well, that's going to do it here, unless Forest win it late on here with Mudryk into Guruteza and Ryan Yates. Mudryk again, and no, that is going to do it. Another 0-0 draw. But that's a disappointing one, that one. Couldn't find the breakthrough, despite Forest sitting at rock bottom of the Premier League. 2 points dropped that. And to be honest, I don't really want to end the episode on that. I might play one more. Well, Southampton remain in 10th for now, but there's a whole queue of teams below us that will have been licking their lips at those drop points against Nottingham Forest. We now travel to Kenilworth Road to take on Luton Town, who they themselves sit in 19th with just 2 wins on the board. Looking to end the episode with 3 points. Come on, you Saints. Leaf finds Mateus Fernandes. There's Brereton Diaz. We've been poor today, but Ben's on the run. And Ben all the way. Brereton Diaz! It's been a really shocking half from both teams, but right at the end of it, Brereton Diaz, I think that's his 4th goal of the season. Already topped his goal scoring record from last year. And Brereton Diaz gets us off the mark here at Kenilworth Road. And that is probably going to do it. Ben looks for Archer as we look for a second. And Archer again looking for Stein. Went for the dink and Kaminsky grabs it. But it's not going to matter. Southampton do see out the victory. Again, just by a single goal to nil. But a win is a win at the end of the day. Not the most convincing, but we're solid at the back. So once we go in front, we do generally feel confident that we can see the job out. Nice way to end the episode with a win and extending the unbeaten run to, I think, now 13 games in the Premier League. Well, guys, that is where we will close out today's episode. 13 games remaining in the Premier League. Southampton still sat in the top half of the table, and only 5 points off the European spots. Liverpool and Spurs in 8th and 7th, just 5 points ahead of us, as I say. I don't think we're going to make a push for Europe, but the unbeaten run has been incredible. We're certainly not worrying about relegation. I think now 15 points clear of the drop zone, and as I say, looking up more than we are looking down. I'll catch you in the next episode where we'll play through more of our remaining 13 games as we edge closer to the climax of Season 2. Looking to try and finish in the top half, and as I say, potentially even somehow sneak into a European place. I hope you have enjoyed today's video, guys. I'll catch you in the next episode very soon, and peace.